Thanks for joining us for Beyond the Stage. My name is Ruth Egerman. I'm the Director of Marketing at Livermore Valley Arts. I'm here with our host and Chief Executive Officer, Chris Carter. Say hello, Chris.
Hey Ruth, how you doing?
I am good. I'm good. Today we're talking to Alicia Slouffman, who is the dance captain and part of the group iLuminate or Illuminate, whichever one you prefer. I think I like iLuminate better. And they're going to be here at the Bankhead Theater on Friday, March 28th at 8 p.m. And tickets are already flying off the shelf, so make sure you get some. And you can get them at livermorearts.org or by calling the box office at 925-373-6800. She was a lot of fun to talk to.
She was. I
Yeah.
felt like I got her a little bit nervous when I asked her about the Dance Mom show. Don't you
Do you
think?
think so?
No,
I don't
no.
know.
She
I
said
think,
her mom was fine. That was
yeah.
funny.
I feel like she probably gets that question like from non-dancers quite a bit. I've never really
Yeah.
seen the show, but you know the stereotype of it. So,
Well,
stage moms, dance moms kind
yeah,
of
you
thing.
you need to watch it. It's a fun show.
Is it? It's
Yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds like that, I don't want to move. I don't want to get out of my pajamas. I just want to sit in front of the TV all weekend.
It's
And that's
actually
a show I can watch.
yeah, it's my daughter would watch that when she was a teenager, and I'd come into the living room and I'd have to ask her like, "Oh my God, what are you watching? This sounds so crazy." But she loved it. So we'll see. You'll learn more about her and her dance mom in this interview, which
Yeah.
she said her mom is lovely. So
It was
not
fun to
anything like the show.
Yeah. It was fun to see her sitting in a cafe in New York City, especially since we just got back from there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't know where exactly she was, but I recognized that that was New York right away. And it
Well,
was,
the street sign right behind her said Broadway on it. So if
yeah,
you're watching this on video, you can see it,
yeah,
which is kind
yeah,
of cool.
yeah. So we just got back from a conference called APAP, or what is it again? Association of
You can do
Performing
it.
Arts Professionals.
Professionals. Yeah.
Professionals. I wanted to say presenters, but it's
Yeah.
actually not just presenters, it's
Yeah.
professionals. So there are agents there. There are people like you and I who are booking stuff. And there's also artists there that are trying to sell their show or maybe get picked up by an agent.
That's right. So it's
Yeah.
for us, it's the biggest conference of the year to go to uh, help us curate our upcoming season. And
Hmm.
so, we present about 50 performances a year, sometimes a little bit more. It, we try to be really selective about what we bring. And so this is a time to go meet with all the different agents and see what's touring next season. Um, and the good agents always know us and know us well and what works and what doesn't work. And they're not super pushy or anything. And they want to work with us and make sure we're finding the right fit. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what we're drawn towards. The fun part is we do get to see a lot of live performance. We get invited
Yep.
to see shows and of these artists that are touring next year. And so
So
that's what I like.
what was your favorite that you got to see?
Um,
Because
well, I loved,
you and I were only once in the same room seeing a
yeah,
performance, which was
we
interesting.
we didn't really overlap too much, but
Yeah.
I saw Martin Sexton at the
Oh,
City
that's right.
Winery in New York. Excellent show. I'm not, right now it's January. I'm not sure if we're going to bring that to Livermore or not, but it would do well out
Yeah.
here. And he was a great performer. He does this the first half of the show. He's playing all the songs from Abbey Road,
Okay.
and very cool. And if you've listened to Abbey Road, some of those songs are kind of complicated with a lot of
But
moving parts, and it's just him and a guitar.
what songs are on Abbey Road? Specific. Do
Oh,
you recall? Am I
that's
putting you on the spot?
you are putting me on the spot. Um, Come together.
Justin can add
No,
this in post
like
where he can like
no,
put the
no,
different
no.
songs on there.
You can. I'm gonna Google it right now. But like "Come Together,"
Oh,
is on
okay.
Abbey Road. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good music. It's one of their great albums.
Yeah.
So I would definitely consider that show, and I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Another one I saw, or that we saw together, was this a jazz performance, and now I'm blanking on the guy's name. He was so good, but it
Yeah,
was
he
in the
was. I can't remember the name either. It was really fabulous.
yeah
And while you're Googling Abbey Road, this particular listening party or showcase was in a penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park, and it really was such a spectacular experience. And then the jazz band that was performing was just like this ode to New York. You couldn't ask for a better setting to hear this music and to be in this place that's so New York, right? Like that experience is really
yeah
not everywhere. So it was
yeah
cool. That was
uh,
cool.
yeah, and I saw a there's another one that I'm not sure if we're going to bring yet because it's might be too soon. What I don't know, maybe because we're not announcing until
We will
April,
not be
right?
announcing this
You know
before
what, Ruth?
this will be published before we announce it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say anything else about what I saw because it might be in the announcement.
Right.
Um, but I saw a really great show that would be perfect for a Generation X audience. So just leave it at that. And I like visiting all the different venues and seeing how
Yeah.
they operate and, comparing it to what we do and what we could do. But there's some
Hmm.
really wonderful spaces. So that's kind of what I look for too. It's not just who's
Yeah.
performing, but it's what's
What's the
what's the
space?
venue. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I went to see a play, just a regular old play, one woman show that was in this black box theater. I don't even know where I was in New York. I just got into a taxi and here's an address. And it was just such it's just kind of that cool experience because it's just really small, maybe 100 seats at most in this venue. And it was super cool to one to see a play and then two to like have that experience in a venue that
Yeah.
that's different from what we have here. It's that I'm like that too. Every time I go into a new venue, I'm like, oh, let's look around, let's see how this is operating
Let's
and
get some
what's going
ideas.
on. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
we should be doing that.
You want
And
to
one of
take the
yeah,
best elements from all these spaces
right.
and try and bring them to your space. So
And the
that's
New York theater or venue scene, there's so many different types of places that they do perform that you
yeah.
really get a taste of anything you want there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
So other songs, by the way, on Abbey Road, Here
Yeah.
Comes the Sun,
Oh yeah.
Octopus's Garden,
Okay.
which is a Ringo song,
Yeah.
one of the few Ringo songs that they let him put out. Um, Oh Darling. So there's some good music on that
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see that show in Livermore.
All right. Well, here we go. Now we
We'll
know what
see.
Chris's hot button is. I
We'll
think
see.
we all have them and we're like, bring this, please,
Yeah.
please, please. So,
Yeah, it can't always be what I want. It's got to be what
right.
everybody wants. So
Well, that's why you have a diverse staff so that we
yeah,
bring
we
shows
work on
that
that.
appeal to many different types of people that live in
Yeah.
the Tri-Valley.
Well, speaking of that, I think this iLuminate show is really going to be perfect for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it's just going to be a great night to go out
Yeah,
and to see something and to be I feel like we're going to be blown away. Like it's just going to be such a unique show that's going to offer an opportunity to experience the arts and technology in a different way than we're used to seeing it. And I think that's
absolutely.
cool. Yeah. So stick around for the interview with Alicia Slouffman. She's a lot of fun to talk to, and she's got some great advice for young dancers who want to make it big wherever they might go in the dance industry. So stick around and enjoy the interview.
Well, I'm Chris, and this is Ruth. So thanks for joining us for the this interview. And
Yeah, of course.
how much time do you have? Because it's usually about 2 or 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that one.
Okay. Okay.
The look on her face was like, wait, what?
I can do this.
I was like, I can make that work. I'll just need to text some people, but that's okay.
You might have to
You
buy
you
some more
maintain
coffee.
you maintained a pretty
I
good
might.
poker face, but it was like, oh, okay.
Well, Alicia, so how do you say it, by the way? Is it iLuminate or illuminate?
Illuminate.
Oh, it
Illuminate.
is.
You can say it either way, but we call it illuminate.
You
You can say
Okay.
do.
illuminate. They go back and forth
Okay.
depending on
Well,
the
So we
day,
can
I
go either
guess.
way on this.
all right. Well,
Because
Yeah.
we've all been saying in the marketing department, I'm the director of marketing here, and so we've been all saying illuminate in the marketing department. And then
Yes.
Chris came in yesterday and was like, I think it's pronounced illuminate. And I'm like, wait, what? You're
Most of
gonna
us
screw
call it
us all up.
illuminate because, yeah,
Yeah.
we like to say like I am illuminating something, so we say illuminate, but it doesn't matter if you say it either way.
okay, good. So we
Great.
won't get slapped on the back of the wrist if we do it wrong. Okay, thank you. And
No.
Alicia, I'm the CEO, by the way, of Livermore Valley Arts, and we're looking forward to seeing y'all on March 28th. And how long have you been a part of this dance company?
I have been a part of it since August of 2023. So
Okay.
I went on tour with them for about a year. And then since around April until now, I have been off of it. But I'm rejoining them for tour starting
Hmm.
in March.
And
Are we
have
your
you?
opening spot in March? Sorry,
Sorry,
Chris. Are we your opening uh
I would have
space
to
on the
look
tour?
at that.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of the first dates that
Yeah.
we have. It might be. I would have to double check on that, but should be one
When
of
you go
the.
on tour, is it more fun at the beginning or the end?
Ooh, good question.
That's a good question. I would say it's different it's more fun at the beginning for different reasons than it is at the end. I think the beginning is really fun because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having this amazing experience of traveling and getting to see all these new places. I'm on a cool tour bus. And then that kind of subsides just a little bit. The more you're dancing and all of that and sleeping on the bus, that is not as exciting towards the end, but it gets more exciting as it comes to a close to perform it because you're like, oh my gosh, it's almost over. I'm performing in the amazing theaters. And the thought of like not being around those people every day anymore kind of sets in a little bit. So that part becomes more exciting. So it's a give and take of a little bit of both.
How many
So yeah.
people are in the tour? How many's in the group?
So there's 12 of us that travel on the bus. We have two wardrobe people, one tech person, and our stage manager. And then there's about 8 or 9 of us that are actually in the production and doing the show live. But every single one of us that travel on the bus is all significant part of the show. The people that are backstage are also sweating and doing lots of work, even though they're not actually on stage. So it's pretty small, tight knit group, and it's a lot of people get shocked by that at the end when they see how many people there actually are. They think there's so many people in it because there's so many different characters and so many different roles in the show. But it's not. It's just us doing a bunch of different roles. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty small.
Do you all get along then, I hope? You're all friendly with each
Oh, we
other?
do. We do. We it's crazy because I met like my best friend from Tortilla. I met her um like August of 2023, and by the end of it, like I was like, "Are you going to be in my wedding, or what's happening here? Why are we so close all of a sudden?" But you're spending every day together, so yeah, we got really close. It was so sad to leave everybody for this stint of time when we're not together, but yeah, it's really wild how close you can get to someone when you're together every single day, nonstop.
Wow.
So
Well, that's better than the alternative, right? If you didn't get along, it
it
would be
is.
a tough tour.
I mean, that's
Um,
It
how
would be
that's
very
like
challenging.
there's a whole reality genre around how people get along when they're stuck with each other every day. That would make a great reality
Yes.
show following
It
Illuminate around on their
would.
bus and seeing all the, I'm sure, I'm sure there are moments of
It
drama and
would.
tension, right?
We have our moments. We have our moments, but we're all like working professionals. We're all adults, so we have our own niches, things we like to do, and sometimes it just like collides a little bit. But for the most part, I had such an amazing experience on tour, and people that have had other tours that they've been on said our group, especially, is the best group of people they've ever worked with and gotten along with. So I got really lucky,
Nice.
really, really lucky.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. Well, let me ask you, for you, I'm assuming you've been dancing your whole life. And like, so do you have specifically like a type of dance that you specialize in, or what did you grow up learning, and how did you get into dance?
Yes. Um, my older sister actually, I'll probably tap into this a little bit. She started dancing. My mom put her in dance, and so I grew up going to her competitions. Grew up as in like my first 2 years of life, so I didn't really see it. But then my mom put me in dance, and now we're both still dancers. We grew up at a studio, so I did ballet, tap, jazz, contemporary, a lot of like conservative training. And then my senior year of high school, I started tapping more into like the street styles, so like hip hop and jazz funk and all that. I did dance team in college for 4 years, which is straight hip hop every day. We do a little bit of pom as well. And that's when I really started getting more into hip hop and delving into that realm. Um, and yeah, now ever since then, right now I'm focusing a lot on like commercial dance. So a lot of hip hop. I want to go on tour and dance behind artists and do all those things. So a little bit different from what I grew up doing. But what's interesting about the show actually is that we have like every style in it, which is pretty uncommon for like a production of a dance show in general. We have jazz, we have a little bit of can musical theater, contemporary, we have light beat, we have hip hop, we have break dancing. So everybody is coming from all these different backgrounds to put this production together. But actually, so my sister, she started doing iLuminate, I think like 5 years ago, in the same role that I'm doing now. So that's how I found out about
Oh,
iLuminate and
that's
got
how you got
That's
involved.
connected.
cool.
Yes,
Can,
so she started doing that, and I kept watching her, and I was like, this is amazing. And an audition popped up for tour, and I was like, I have to go. I have
is
to
your
go.
sister
But yeah,
still in the dance group? Is your sister still involved?
she's not. She did it for
Okay.
about 2 to 3 years, and then she was like, "It's time for me to move on something else in the industry and try new things." But she stuck with it for a very long time.
So I have a question. So you said the role, was she so you're a dance captain, correct?
Yes,
And was she a
yes.
dance captain as well?
She was not.
Right.
Yeah, we
So,
have like characters and tracks in the show. So if
okay.
you're this person, you're gonna run through this specific spot and do these specific numbers. Um, and so my role is can, and she was also that track as well. So
Oh,
we do this
okay.
whole like all the legs, and we have this fun skirt. We do a little bit of flash dance in there. A
Cool.
lot of like the technical elements are like in our track specifically. I'm actually dance captain for the upcoming tour, so this will
Oh,
be my first experience as dance captain as well.
and what is the role of a dance captain in not just your tour, but in general for any dance? Because I know that
Um,
every dance
it
company has a dance
definitely
captain.
it definitely varies per show that you're in. My first experience as a dance captain, not in the industry, I was dance captain of my dance team in college. And so that was a lot of like making sure everyone has the right things, a little bit more like juvenile duties. And so now stepping into this one, a lot of it is you have to know every single track, all everyone's spacing for every single number. Being able, if we need swings or we need to add people to the show, being able to teach whoever it is any track that's in the show. Kind of being a bridge between the cast and like the creative team back in Vegas, as well as the stage manager. If anyone has any concerns or problems or things they have questions about, they'll come to me and I can kind of relay that on to the more upper management side of things. So kind of like a spokesperson for the group, as well as keeping people in track and remembering everything for everybody. Um,
So kind of like a company
and
manager.
It's a big
It sounds
job.
like a little bit like
yeah,
a company manager. Yeah.
Can
in a
I
way,
can I
yeah,
ask you something? I want to go back to something. So you said your mom got you and your sister both into dance very young. Um, my
yes.
daughter loves watching this show called Dance Moms. Was your mom like a dance mom like that show? Is she going to listen to this, by the way? If she's
No,
not, you can just say whatever you want.
she probably will listen to this, but no, she was not in that sense. She definitely
Okay.
pushed us and would always, if we were getting like a little lazy about things, she would always make sure that we like kept to our regimen and kept to our training and all of that. But she was by no means crazy to any other mom or to the dance teacher or anything like that. Was she
Is
involved?
that
Yes, but not in those ways.
is that show, is it like fictionalized or is it really like that in some dance companies?
It is not like that,
Okay.
no.
Oh
It, I,
man.
I would say that there probably are moms that to an extent are involved in ways that they shouldn't be, but I think that show is definitely just an exaggerated version of the competition world, um, purely for entertainment
Or made
purposes.
for
That is not
TV.
what the competition world is like in the
All
slightest.
right.
It was funny because when it came out, um, I was probably in like middle school or something like that. And that's when everyone started like recognizing the dance world that weren't dancers themselves. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's what you do. I'm like, that's not what I that's not what I do. So so yeah,
All right.
it's not accurate.
All right. The straight truth from Alicia. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope you don't burst your daughter's bubble though.
oh, she's a grown up. She can handle it.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
good.
She's actually my daughter did cheer team in high school, middle school and high school, and she's in college now, and she thought about it, but she decided not to. But she loves dance, so um, too. But she's actually lives in Southern California, so I probably won't be able to bring her up for the show, but I'm sure she'd love to see it sometime. Um, what's the origin story for this dance company? I'm really curious as to how this came about. I know when they first were on America's Got Talent, it was really novel and very cool. And so how did it all start? Do you know that?
I do. So our amazing CEO, creator of the production, Raw Cobb, she grew up with a passion of coding and technology as well as dance. So she's been a dancer for so long, ever since she could walk, and stayed in kind of both worlds. She went to college at Columbia University and got a degree in computer science. And then I believe shortly after she got cancer, and so which was in her hip, so she had to get surgery, and that kind of obviously took her out of the dance world due to recovery. And so while she was in the hospital recovering, she kind of got back into coding and all of that and found her love for that again. And after PT and all that, she wanted to go back to dance. And now she had both of these passions kind of in her face. And she was like, I would love to combine the two of them and see what I can create. So somehow in her extremely artistic, complex brain, she was like, I think we should make these light suits for dancers and have them dance in them. I have no idea. I wish I had a brain like that. But yeah, it's so incredible. She basically figured out this wireless technology that outlines these shapes on our body to create us like a character.
Hmm.
Um, that's like a person, and it outlines all of our moves from fingers to our feet to shoes to accessories to our faces. Um, and basically coded all of these lights to match the musicality of the show and the moves that we do. So it just combines the two of them to create this. And since then, the technology that she's created has definitely advanced, like our phones or anything like that. So it's gotten the suits have gotten a little bit lighter. They've gotten a little bit easier to move in versus what they started out in.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's a very short, condensed version of how she created that.
So is the light on the suits controlled um like via your movement and matched up with the music, or are you dancers are your dancers in some control of it? Like when you're dancing, are you somehow pushing buttons as well?
I got you. So, no, actually, we have zero control of what happens on our suits, which can sometimes be a good thing, sometimes not so much, because there
Yeah.
are like some malfunctions sometimes. But so I wasn't there for the start of it, but basically, you wear the suits, and she has a coding system where she codes every single item on the suit, whether it be, like I said, the sunglasses, the fingers, the vest that you have on, the shorts, whatever it is, and each individual thing is coded to the music. So they're connected at that point. So for us, our stage manager will just press one single button that starts the music for the show, and our suits follow that entire thing. So it's all combined into one thing. So once she presses the button, the suits will do whatever they do till the end of the show. And each light is already synced up and coded to match the music. So they don't change based on like the energy of the music. It's the same every time for our show. But yeah, like we'll go out in and out. So like we'll be here and then our suit will go black and someone pops out over here. Or for one scene, like only our arms will be on and we'll just be doing arm movement.
Hmm.
But yeah. So we don't have any
So
specific control.
it's like programming a light show, but it's for the suits. So
Yes,
where it's
exactly.
like when we have a concert or an opera, for example, they program all the lighting for the opera, the lighting changes and things like that into the show. And there's a light board operator running the program. And so once the
Hmm.
show starts, the program ensues and all the lights change accordingly to whatever the program is telling them to do. Am I kind of understanding that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And
And
the
then,
only thing
and then,
that's a little different from like stage production with lighting cues, the person that's behind starting the music has no control over the cues of our suits. You just play it
Once
and
it
they
starts, it
go
just
as
goes.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
you're dancing in total darkness other than the lights coming from the suit. What's that like?
Yes.
That's got to be hard.
It is definitely an experience. It's so interesting to see how um like for example, my first time doing it in total darkness with the suit on was our first show last year. And my spatial awareness, your depth perception is so different.
Hmm.
Um, I have like a duet scene that I do with one of my partners, and I remember like reaching to connect with him, and I was nowhere close. And you think that you are, so you kind of just get used to it. And then as far as like spacing and all of that, you can't really see. So your body just muscle memory gets used to where you have to go, how far you have to be from someone, what it feels like, the timing of how long it takes you to get over there. You're like, pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to be for this whole part. And it just works out. Um, but yeah, and then there's definitely some weight to the suits as well. So that was interesting to um, figure out too, just because you're so used to dancing with your own body weight.
Hmm.
But for example, one of my costumes gets up to like 25 pounds. Um, so jumping and doing lifts and moving your arms with all of that is definitely challenging. But again, like you get used to it the more you do it. And then what's also interesting is that if I were to take a week off of the show and come back, it kind of resets all of that. So
Hmm.
instead of like staying used to it, I come back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get back into it. So yeah,
Yeah. Do you lift weights in your downtime in order to be strong enough to dance with a 25-pound suit on you?
I do. That's not necessarily the main reason that I do. I just enjoy lifting in general.
Yeah.
But a lot of dancers don't. And they're totally fine. Again, it's just getting used to it and you kind of get stronger when you're doing it because there is that added weight on you. I would say that it's definitely helped me a lot. Um, Especially for lifts, like having to jump with that and
Hmm.
the person having to lift you, you want to give them extra support. But I do that in my free time.
Well, I
Mm.
assume too, it's like when you're dancing in a heavy costume like that and then you take it off, is it like you know, when you've been running on a treadmill for a long time and then you get step off the treadmill and all of a sudden everything feels kind of very light. And is that what
It's
it's like?
exactly like that. It's exactly like that. Like if we have a rehearsal and we have to do a number where there's lifts or I have to do jumps or anything like that, and I'm doing the choreography, it feels like I'm have like no gravitational force on me whatsoever. It's
Hmm.
like so airy and light, and we'll do lifts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so high up. Like this is crazy.
There's a fun benefit. Well, and you're not worried about getting electrocuted or anything, are you? That they're not like they're pretty safe.
I have never been electrocuted, and I hope that I never do. They're definitely safe. We have like drivers that are all sewn into the costume, so
Yeah.
there's never like a loose wire. Well, sometimes there is, but it'll get repaired before you actually put it on your body. But they're all covered, so
Hmm.
there's no really danger of that.
And then who comes up with like the choreography and the ideas and the concepts for each dance, and what's that process like?
So, um, the concepts themselves, I think, comes from like Maral and the creative team that's in Vegas, and then I think they kind of work hand in hand with the choreographers to make that come to life after kind of explaining what they want the choreography to like emulate. Um, so Josh Smith, he works with like Chris Brown, Ray Leeper, Al Blackstone, a bunch of different choreographers are brought in since there are so many styles of dance. And they just work hand in hand with the creative team in Vegas to say, this is what we want. This is what we want this scene in the show to look like. And they'll kind of explain the suits to them and see what works with the suits and what doesn't. Because some things that would read in a regular dance show, they don't read in the suits the same.
Hmm.
So um, you just kind of have to keep doing it until you get what's right. But that happened a while ago, so we don't necessarily do as much of that now. But yeah, so a bunch of different choreographers have developed the entirety of the show
Hmm.
um, to create all of the moves and all of the scenes and everything like that.
And are the scenes like trying to tell a story or tell like for me, I don't watch a lot of dance. I know certain things that I like, but I always still feel like I'm a novice with being a dance patron. And like, what are some things that we should be watching when we're watching you guys? And so what would you tell somebody that's never been to a dance performance, like what to expect?
So I think that this is a really unique dance show in itself because it's not like we're just coming out and we're just putting on this dance show. Like if you were go to similar to if you go to a ballet production, I guess,
Hmm.
there actually is a story and there's voiceover characters that are talking, but instead of them talking, it's through the music. So they're doing movements and acting it out without using their words to the voice that's actually coming out of the audience. And the show that we're doing is basically a story about these characters that are entering Club iLuminate, and they're going through this portal to take you through all these different rooms in the club, and all of these different rooms have different styles of music and different styles of dance and different eras of time. So we
Hmm.
have a little bit where they come in and there's a Willy Wonka scene and there's all these magical things that are happening. So it's not hard to process from a non-dance perspective because it's um, like a light show basically.
Yeah.
So the dancing is just like an added factor to it, but it's pretty easy to process because it's just entertaining because there's all these elements that don't have anything to do with dance necessarily. And
Yeah.
then there's an
It's
MJ scene. We go in and out of some like old school hip hop um, and like a flash dance scene. So it has something for everybody, and just a lot of visuals that are cool for even like kids to see it, even if they know nothing about dance.
mhm.
So it really offers something for everybody.
It's kind of like a great introduction to dance for somebody that's never been to a dance performance, I guess, because like you just said, it's
Yes.
easier to follow. Um,
Yes.
yeah, well, that's cool. Ruth, were you going to say something?
Um, I don't know. I got involved with what she was saying, so
You lost
I
track.
might have yeah, long ago, but
I
Well,
will
it's
say,
really a fascinating. It's just to hear you talk about it. It sounds like just a fascinating show. I was one of those people who did like anytime I had to take a PE class, like in college, I just took a dance class.
Yeah.
Like I would take modern or jazz, or I never took ballet because I just didn't have that training. But that's sort of what I did to satisfy my PE requirement. So I know a little bit about dance. I like going to dance, um, and I do like the marriage of the art of dance and technology. And I didn't realize how technical this actually was. It sounds fascinating.
It is. And I
Yeah.
will say that I've had family members, like my cousins and stuff, that had to come to my recitals growing up that are so, so long. And I invited them to come see this, and they were very pleasantly surprised. They were like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I thought it was going to be like one of your recitals, but it was not. And I would say that the majority of people that know about this show are actually non dancer people because it's promoted as a family friendly
Yeah.
experience. And our residency that's at the Strat Hotel in Vegas, majority of people that come and see that have no dance experience or background at all, and they are obsessed with it after they see it.
Yeah. Well, what did we have a lot of great dance companies in our region and aspiring dancers. Do you have any thoughts or advice for anybody that is looking to do this as a career or get involved in dance?
In the industry in general, or specifically this show?
Well, in the industry in general, being a professional dancer.
Yes, I would say something that's really important, especially with the use of social media and technology and all of that. Auditions and making it in the industry is just a little bit different. It's really, really important to build connections with as many people as possible. Um, just because a lot of the time there won't even be an audition. It's just, I need this person. Who do you know that can fill in for this? And they'll be like, let me ask this person, and this person and see who's available. And you'll just get a text and be like, can you do this job? And then on top of that, just training and exposing yourself to every different style that there is. Um, just because you never know what they're going to ask for. They might ask for you to break down into this really intense freestyle or some crazy hip hop sequence. And then two numbers later, they want you to do a beautiful contemporary with technique and lines. So
Hmm.
just really exposing yourself to every single style and training in things that might make you uncomfortable is going to help you in the long run instead of waiting to do that till you're already a professional and being like, oh, shoot, I don't know how to do that yet. So starting young and just diving into everything that you can that's possible is probably the biggest thing I would
Yeah.
say.
Wow,
And
that's
have
And
some
taking
you,
care
really
of your body.
that's some really solid advice. Like very clear cut.
well, you just said take
Those
care
are
of your
things that
body. Have you had to deal with injury or anything like that?
several, not because I wasn't being smart, it just happens. And just the your body is your career. So treating it as if you would taking a rest day on the weekend for
Hmm.
a 9 to 5 job throughout the week, your body doesn't really get a break. So making sure that you do recovery after, even when you don't feel like it, foam rolling, drinking water, fueling your body with all the right foods. It's just so important. And I think when you're younger, you don't get sore, you don't really feel the impact of it. So you're like, oh, I don't need it. But you do because it will
Hmm.
come up later and be um, very impactful.
Is it harder to do
Yeah.
that when you're on the road?
It's very hard. I won't lie, it's very hard. I think what's most challenging about it is that um, just sleeping on the bus right after the show versus what I love about New York is that when I work out or I take a class or whatever, I get to walk after. So my body's in this active recovery state versus doing the show. You're doing this hour long spurt of like crazy intense energy and muscle work. And then you have to go sit on a bus and you can't
Hmm.
really move around. Um, so it takes a toll on your body in a different way for sure.
And what about like diet, like food? Is it harder to get the things you need when you're on the road too?
Yes. It's probably a little harder for me because I eat gluten free. So not having access to like home cooked meals or things that I can make myself is definitely challenging. But our stage manager tries to make sure that when we do get our food catered and all that, that it accommodates to everybody. But I'm also very much a homebody when it comes to food. So I love to have a night in and cook for myself versus eat out. So that's tough for me for sure.
Yeah.
But we make it work because we're doing what we love. So we just make the best of it.
And how long are you guys, how long is this tour for you?
This one is from March till May versus the last contract that I did with them was from, I think we started like the 1st of October and then it ended the following April.
Oh, wow,
So
that's
that
long.
one was pretty long.
Yeah.
But with that one, we did a 3-month residency in New York at New World Stages.
Oh,
So
so
we
you got
got
to stay
to,
home.
um,
Yeah.
yes, I got to have my own place for a little bit, which was
Right.
nice.
Right. Because that's a long time for somebody who likes to be a homebody. That's a long time to not
Yes,
have the
yes.
creature comforts of your
I
home and your kitchen and all of that stuff.
Yes, I luckily though am the type of person that I don't need a lot. So I am fine with just packing my suitcase and being wherever any
Hmm.
day
Yeah.
that it is. And I love traveling. So I loved getting to see new places every day. It definitely outweighed a lot of the things that I wasn't necessarily happy about.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was great.
Well, I think you're going to like our space. It's a really nice room. And without spoiling too much of the show, is there like a part of the show that's your favorite or something that we should, you go, oh, you know what, you're really going to love it when we do this. Like, what is that going to be?
I'm gonna be careful about my answer.
You have to be
Um,
diplomatic, huh?
Yes. My favorite personally, obviously it's opinionated, but my favorite part of the show is the Michael Jackson
Hmm.
scene. And there's a very specific, iconic Michael Jackson move, like a singular move that he does. And they emulate that in the show. And it's
Hmm.
definitely like an illusion effect that nobody really knows how they do it. I'm not actually in that scene, but I get to watch it every night and I'm always obsessed with it. I'm always like, that is so crazy, even though I know how they do it.
Hmm.
But that specific part, that one specific move, just like seems to be a crowd stopper every single time. It's about like a little less than halfway through the show.
All
All
right.
So
right.
keep an eye out for that.
We're going to
Noted.
look out for the
Noted.
MJ scene. Well, Alicia, we're just about going to wrap this up, and I want to thank you for your time. But before we do, we like to play a little game with all of our guests, and I hope you're okay with that. It's very simple. It's we
Okay.
call it either or, so it's just a way to get to know you better. And I'm going to present you with a series of options, and you have to pick the one you prefer. Super easy,
This
right?
is great. I'm
Well,
very indecisive, so
There,
this should be awesome.
it's
yeah,
all pass fail, so don't worry about
yeah.
it.
If you fail it, then well,
That's
we'll
on
see what
you.
happens. Okay. But
Okay.
we'll start off easy. The first one I always ask is sunrise or sunset. Which one do you prefer?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Okay. Alicia is a morning person. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. There you go. See, you're not indecisive. This is easy.
This is great.
You're at a coffee shop. I was going to ask you coffee or tea.
Uh-oh.
I gotta say coffee because I drink it more, but I love a good tea too. So I'll say coffee. Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. Uh, since you like to cook, breakfast for dinner or dinner for breakfast?
Breakfast for dinner.
All right. Little pancakes at dinner time. That's the best. Um, all right. This is a controversial one. Pineapple on pizza or no pineapple on pizza?
100%. I love pineapple on pizza. It can't go wrong
Yes.
ever.
Thank.
I think you're the first one who's ever answered yes to pineapple on
What?
pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh, it's so good.
And I know
It's so
exactly.
good.
Exactly.
The people that can't enjoy it, I'm just like, I'm so sorry that you can't experience it the same way that we do.
Right.
Well, that was the correct answer for that one. Pirates or ninjas?
Ooh, probably ninjas.
Ninjas. Okay. Um, Dancing with the lights on or dancing with the lights off?
Oh.
I feel like I have to say the lights off for this
Okay.
scenario.
Do you prefer the book or the movie?
The book,
The book. You're a reader.
always.
All right, this one I'm giving you three choices. So these are three films with a lot of dancing in them. Footloose, Saturday Night Fever, or Flashdance?
Footloose. I have to say
Footloose.
Footloose. I love all of those, but I just love Footloose.
Yep, you got to cut Footloose. All right. Um, the waltz or the tango?
The tango.
The
I love the
tangos.
energy in the tango a little bit more.
All right, we're getting into some dance questions here. Here's another one: tap or ballet?
Ballet. I'm not a
Ballet.
big tapper. Was never my thing.
Okay. As far as TV shows go, Dancing with the Stars or So You Think You Can Dance?
So you think you can dance?
Okay.
That was straight
We
up. You had that one
You knew
in
that
the
one.
cannon.
They, they do a tour, and we had the tour at our theater a few years ago, and that was a huge production. I had no idea how much work that was going to be, but that was pretty
Yes.
cool. Okay, here's dance crazes: electric slide or the Macarena?
Ooh.
Uh-oh, we
Oh,
stumped you with this one.
maybe the Macarena. I think
Okay.
that's what I'm gonna go with, but I'm
You
a
can
little
change your
unsure.
answer once you get here and let us know if that's
Okay.
changed.
Okay.
I feel like the Macarena is a little bit easier, at least for me, because you don't have to use your feet so much. It's just your hands. Um,
That's
okay,
true.
last one. Livermore, California, which is where we are located, on March 28th, which is when you're going to be performing, or anywhere else in the world that night.
I'm gonna go with California.
All right.
I think that's probably best.
That
I'm
was
a
Yeah.
the right
big West
answer.
Side girl, so
All right.
yeah.
Well, good answer. Thank you so much, Alicia. We really appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to the show.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. It's just so fun.
Yeah. Oh, good, good. Thank you for coming and
Of
joining us.
course.
It's been great to get to know you and learn the ins and outs of this really incredibly unique production.
Yes. And I'm so like thankful that I have familiar faces to come back to when I'm there because it gets a little
Yeah,
disorienting on tour when you
Yep.
don't know anybody. So this should be fun that we get to
yeah.
connect
Yep.
when I'm finally there.
We will definitely be there and we'll say hi.
We'll be there.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
You're off the hook. Well, have a
Of
great day.
course.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for joining us for Beyond the Stage featuring Alicia Slouffman. She's the dance captain for iLuminate, who will be performing live at the Bankhead on Friday, March 28th at 8 p.m. Get your tickets now at livermorearts.org or by calling the box office at 925 373 6800. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode or your favorite part. Leave us a comment, ask a question, or please give us a review on our social media, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we may even read it live on the next podcast. You'll find us on all the socials at Livermore Valley Arts. And remember to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Ruth Eggerman.
And I'm Chris Carter. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.